Welcome to Watch Mojo. And today, we're jamming to songs that best represent each state in the U.S. in alphabetical order, up to Missouri.
There'll be music everywhere.
Sweet Home Alabama by Lynyrd Skynyrd, Alabama. Though they hail from Florida, Lynyrd Skynyrd is so quintessentially Southern rock that they delivered an anthem for the quintessential Southern state.
Big wheels keep on turning, carry me home to see my kin.
Sweet Home Alabama was a response to Neil Young's Alabama and Southern Man, which leaned on stereotypes to condemn contemporary social issues in the region.
Well, I heard old Neil put it down.
The post-Watergate diss track points out the hypocrisy in vilifying the entire South for the corruption and bigotry of politicians. Mostly, though, it's a celebration of Alabama's signature charm and hospitality, backed by an unshakably catchy riff.
Sweet home Alabama, where the skies are blue.
The permanent global hit Sweet Home Alabama is naturally a staple of classic rock culture in the Deep South, and it's a motto for the homey spirits of the Yellowhammer State. North to Alaska by Johnny Horton, Alaska. Not 2 years after Alaska was declared the 49th American state, the northern set western North to Alaska delighted moviegoers.
Big Sam left Seattle in the year of 92.
The theme song was a more solemn hit in the country genre, as singer Johnny Horton had died in a car accident just days before the film's release. Over time, it became a lesser-known John Wayne vehicle, but Alaskans still love that song.
George turned to Sam with his gold in his hand.
The cozy tones enhanced Tillman Franks and Mike Phillips's vivid Gold Rush saga to capture the land's folksy adventurousness.
North to Alaska.
As that has only evolved through the years. North to Alaska feels more like a commemoration of Horton and the theme song to the whole of the last frontier.
Go north, the rush is on.
Arizona by Rex Allen Jr., Arizona. The son of famed Arizona cowboy grew up knowing all of America as his home, but his father's home held such a special place in his heart that he wrote a tribute in the style of a proper love song.
I love you, Arizona.
Arizona is also the most definitive example of Rex Allen Jr.'s style of authentic traditional country in modern music.
The warmth you give at sunrise.
While the Copper State has diversified since its founding, the frontiersman spirit has never faded. Thus, Allen's Arizona was selected as an alternate state song just 1 year after its release.
The sage and cactus are blooming.
It may actually be more of a local hit, but it says everything about the beauty of and passion for a community.
You're the magic in me.
Arkansas by Chris Stapleton, Arkansas. Who says that Arkansas is boring?
Took a 911 by the 107 down a back road.
The state's vibe and sprawl have been well represented in distinct musical identity, but it was Kentucky country star Chris Stapleton who perfectly consolidated it.
Well, we burned through the one-eyed towns like a scalded dog.
The energetic Southern rock jam Arkansas recounts how he and bassist JT Cure had to pick up a car in Oklahoma and drive it to his home in Nashville, Tennessee. Along the way, they found a wild, welcoming culture from the Ozark Mountains to the massive Little Rock.
Gotta get down to Arkansas.
The locals quickly embraced Arkansas as an anthemic and authentic representation of their defining personality. Of course, they and Stapleton would agree that there's a rich musical tradition behind this modern regional classic.
Hey, if you wanna get down, gotta get down to Arkansas.
Hotel California by the Eagles. California. How can you narrow down a musical culture as vast and as diverse as California's? The Eagles naturally accomplished this so singularly that they named their magnum opus Hotel California.
On a dark desert highway, cool wind in my hair.
The eclectic epic of a shady desert utopia alludes to the very mythology of this fabled world. Of course, the folksy, psychedelic homage to 1960s counterculture leaves a lot up for interpretation.
There she stood in the doorway, I heard the mission bell.
It certainly paints a colorful portrait of the romance and excesses of modern America, as do an eerie groove, a cool chorus, and one of the all-time great guitar duos.
Welcome to the Hotel California. Such a lovely place.
Hotel California is altogether a rock masterpiece that encompasses the enigmatic essence of the Golden States. If it really is this enchanting, why would you ever leave?
Sing your alibi.
Rocky Mountain High by John Denver, Colorado. John Deutschendorf's stage name was just the start of the folk singer linking his career to his adopted home state.
He was born in the summer of his 27th year.
That came to a peak with Rocky Mountain High, an account of how he moved to and fell in love with Colorado.
When he first came to the mountains, his life was far away.
It also reflects on how the region's splendor has been violated by industrialization. The deceptively profound ballad was so popular that John Denver was named the state's poet laureate 2 years after its release.
Now his life is full of wonder, but his heart still knows some fear.
And in 2007, it was named alongside Where the Columbines Grow as Colorado's official state anthem. Of all the tributes Denver wrote for the Centennial State, Rocky Mountain High is the purest love letter a place could hope for.
Rocky Mountain High.
Connecticut by Bing Crosby and Judy Garland. Connecticut. The fantasy of one of America's most romantic states was perfected by two of the country's brightest golden era stars.
I know a spot, peaceful and fair.
Songwriter Hugh Martin and Ralph Blaine, who worked on Meet Me in St. Louis, reunited with Judy Garland to write Connecticut as a duet with Bing Crosby.
Miss every lake, miss every hill.
The upbeat ballad alleges that there may be no more pleasant place to be than the Nutmeg State. And with how it presents the community, education, and nature, it's hard to argue.
Circle the globe,
Circle the globe,
of time, seen all it.
The land of steady habits still represents an old-fashioned idyllic myth, making this 1940s hidden gem feel even more evergreen. If nothing else, Crosby and Garland have the charm to sell Connecticut as the place for anyone.
Connecticut always will be my home.
Delaware Slide by George Thorogood and the Destroyers. Delaware. The modest reputation of the first state has always been challenged by their biggest rock star. Clearly, not enough people are familiar with George Thorogood and the Destroyers' Delaware Slide.
Well, I wrote a streak of lightning on the night you said goodbye.
The raspy bluesman tells the usual story of hitting the iconic Highway 95 in the wake of heartbreak. Mostly, though, the 8-minute opus is an endlessly catchy jam led by a slide guitar.
Well, I'm gonna hit that highway, they call Highway 95.
It's massive yet minimalistic, a mix of traditional and modern that's very urban blues. Never mind, very Delaware. Thorogood has obviously had bigger hits since the closing track on his debut album helped make him a local legend.
Well, I grew up with the rock and roll, but these blues wouldn't leave me alone.
Still, Delaware Slide is the kind of all-American epic that screams liberty and independence.
Well, I've got to leave you, baby, and try for us to part.
Seminole Wind by John Anderson, Florida. About the only thing that unifies the many distinct identities of Florida is the sunshine. But true Floridians can hear a little bit of everything in a Popka local John Anderson's Seminole Wind.
Ever since the days of old, men would search for wealth untold.
The up-tempo country ballad recognizes the beauty of the Everglades, references indigenous history, and laments the destructive force of development.
Progress came and took its toll, and in the name of flood control.
It's not exactly the sunniest anthem for a popular tourist destination. Nonetheless, it was a commercial and critical hit that secured Anderson's 90s comeback, despite the label's concern that it would be too regionally esoteric.
Oh, blow, Seminole wind, blow like you're never gonna blow again.
With its folky romance and complicated themes particularly resonating with locals, Seminole Wind arguably says more about Florida than any travel guide.
Blow across the home of the Seminoles, the alligators and the gulls.
Georgia on My Mind by Ray Charles, Georgia. Composer Hoagy Carmichael collaborated with Stuart Gurrell to write Georgia on My Mind as a tribute to his sister in 1930.
Georgia, Georgia.
The pop piece was deceptively marketed as Southern nostalgia for 30 years before Ray Charles gave it new life. The Albany native mixed soul and country to aggrandize the loving ballad into a passion for his home. This unique interpretation distinguished Georgia on My Mind as a true American classic, as well as the preferred style for countless covers.
Georgia, Georgia.
It was also adopted as Georgia's official state song in 1979. While Hoagy Carmichael definitely deserves some recognition, only one thing comes to mind when Brother Ray takes us away. Blue Hawaii by Elvis Presley, Hawaii. Ralph Ranger and Leo Robin wrote Blue Hawaii for the 1937 film Waikiki Wedding. It became a pop standard until 2 years after Hawaii attained statehood, another movie made it synonymous with Elvis Presley.
Night and you.
His more emotive interpretation not only elevated the longing in a love song composed for Bing Crosby, it more succinctly mingled Polynesian arrangements with orchestral pop, helping to solidify Hawaii's folk music as part of the American mainstream.
Come with me.
The film Blue Hawaii may have created a romantic image of the new state by exoticizing its native culture.
In blue Hawaii.
But Presley's even more popular soundtrack exemplified a rich identity that continues to resonate in local and global pop culture.
With you.
Private Idaho by the B-52s, Idaho. Georgia new wave pioneers, the B-52s, actually didn't play Idaho until 3 decades after the release of Private Idaho.
You're living in your own private Idaho, living in your own private Idaho.
The state was named alongside a pool to represent a place of isolation and mystery. Fred Schneider claimed to also be alluding to the paranoia of a private eye, pardon the pun. It turns out the eerily danceable jam isn't far off from the eccentric essence of its namesake.
Watch out for signs that say hidden driveways, so let the glory in your eyes.
Idahoans unexpectedly embraced it as an anthem for their values of nature and individualism.
The Lord may be green, but you better not be seen. Walking through a gate that nature's down.
Its maverick brand was bolstered in 1992 when filmmaker Gus Van Sant named his cult breakout My Own Private Idaho. Whether the B-52s meant to nail the spirit of the gem state, they arrived in 2011 as local legends. Chicago by Sufjan Stevens, Illinois. The culture of Illinois is so diverse that Sufjan Stevens of Michigan had to explore it with a concept album.
I fell in love again. All things go, all things go.
Unsurprisingly, the track named for the state's biggest city was the biggest hit. But Chicago goes beyond representing metropolitan ideals that can be heard in the indie folk piece's towering orchestration.
I made a lot of mistakes in my mind, in my mind.
It encompasses the adventurous spirit of an entire state that Stevens fell in love with growing up. Only a local could readily pick up on the references to history, local legends, and the poet Carl Sandburg.
If I was crying in the van with my friend.
This sophisticated anthem remains Stevens' most popular song and a particularly rich tribute to Prairie State's cultural epicenter. Of course, the whole album Illinois is an ethnographic triumph.
I made a lot of mistakes. I made a lot of mistakes.
Small Town by John Cougar Mellencamp, Indiana. Measuring just over 10 square miles, Seymour, Indiana is definitely no metropolis. But John Mellencamp's Heartland rock never sounded bigger than it does on Small Town.
I was born in a small town, and I live in a small town.
This particularly personal anthem commemorates his childhood and the spirit of community under the pressures of the modern world. Mellencamp wanted to subvert the old musical underdog mentality of wanting to make it in the big city.
Well, I've seen it all in a small town. Had myself a ball in a small town.
Even without being released as a single, Small Town was so revered for its hook and authentic sentiments that it settled the singer's image as a middle American idol.
Still hayseed enough to say, look who's in the big town. But my bed is in a small town.
The song has since been embraced by the greater heartland, as well as a few political campaigns. It's just particularly big in the humble communities of Indiana.
Gonna die in a small town. Oh, that's probably where they bury me.
Iowa Stubborn by Meredith Wilson, Iowa. As huge as the Music Man was on Broadway, it's even bigger in the small state of Iowa. Mason City's own Meredith Wilson captures the charm of his home in every musical number, especially Iowa Stubborn. This title proves ironic as the residents of River City descend on traveling salesman Charlie Cowell with word of their mild manners. While it wouldn't be nice for outsiders to test that patience, the lively number represents the unique humility that Iowans take pride in. The Music Man and its film adaptation broadly popularized the mythical Midwestern ideal as distilled in one region.
But we'll give you our shirt and a bag to go with it.
Hawkeyes just particularly hold on to the term of endearment that is Iowa Stubborn. Wichita Lineman by Glenn Campbell, Kansas. The spirit of Kansas burdened Oklahoma songwriter Jimmy Webb and Arkansas country star Glenn Campbell in a studio in Hollywood.
I am a lineman for the county.
This couldn't have been done without the likes of Wichita Lineman, whose story is told with a frontiersman conviction and an emphasis on the beautifully harsh elements. It's all enhanced by the emotive hooks of the legendary session band The Wrecking Crew.
I hear you singing in the wire.
But the lyrics' mix of Western grit and modern ideas really spoke to the vague identity of Kansas. Webb's ballad was not only turned into one of Campbell's most successful songs, but is widely considered a modern American masterpiece.
And the Wichita lineman.
And if its complex identity communicates with anyone, it's the people of Kansas.
is still on the line.
Blue Moon of Kentucky by Bill Monroe. Kentucky. The bluegrass state is a well-earned nickname for the birthplace of a music genre. It was precisely developed by Bill Monroe with the romantic folk music of British immigrants and the budding Appalachian Americana.
It was on a moonlight night, the stars were shining bright.
With a sound and storytelling that pretty, Blue Moon of Kentucky even makes heartbreak sound romantic. Monroe's masterpiece so vividly conveys the land's natural beauty and humble soul that it became one of the defining American standards of the 20th century.
Blue moon of Kentucky, keep on shining.
More honorific than the countless covers was it being named the official bluegrass song of Kentucky in 1988. While Blue Moon of Kentucky is the obvious choice, take that to mean that there are many songs of many genres to tell this state's story.
Shine on the one that's gone and said goodbye.
Jambalaya on the Bayou by Hank Williams, Louisiana. The Alabama country icon Hank Williams had Louisiana to thank for his broadcast breakout and his wife Billie Jean Horton.
Goodbye, Joe, me gotta go, me oh my oh.
Then there was the kinship with Cajun culture that produced a bona fide anthem. Sure, Jambalaya on the Bayou is on the stereotypical side with its plays on Creole mannerisms and cuisine.
My Yvonne, the sweetest one, me oh my oh.
Above all, it's a celebration of a unique subculture that speaks to all of Louisiana with its Zydeco-infused honky-tonk. The very fun Jambalaya is believed to be the most covered song in Williams's hugely influential catalog.
Jambalaya, crawfish pie, filet gumbo.
It's particularly hot in Cajun country, where it can always be trusted to boil a melting pot culture down the good times.
Son of a gun, we'll have big fun on the bayou.
Ballad of the 20th Maine by the Ghost of Paul Revere, Maine. Carrying on the spirit of New England's true favorite patriot, the Ghost of Paul Revere brought a modern twist to American folk.
My name is Andrew Tozier, I'm a child of Litchfield, Maine.
Ballad of the 20th Maine is particularly personal to the Portlanders in its account of a regiment that was key to the Union's victory in the Battle of Gettysburg.
Well, our western flank, it was missing as the Confederates, they pushed on.
The battle hymn commemorates these men's sacrifice with underscores of Irish folk, making it a bit obscure for mainstream listeners. That is, until it was designated the official ballad of Maine in 2019 for the state's bicentennial.
And if we should die today, then dream a dream of heaven.
Ballad of the 20th Maine has since gained a cult following on acclaim alone, though it's always resonated with the cultural and historical heritage of Mainers.
Stand fast, ye are the boys of Maine.
Baltimore by Nina Simone, Maryland. Randy Newman's 1977 Ode to Maryland's capital was hardly flattering. 1 year later, the High Priestess of Soul covered Baltimore with more knowledge of and love for the city.
Beat up little seagull on a marble stand.
Producer Creed Taylor incorporated a jazzy reggae arrangement into her tender readings of humanity behind the urban decay. Nina Simone herself was openly upset about the uncharacteristic style of the song and the album of the same name.
Hard times in the city, in a hard town by the sea.
But fans embrace Baltimore as a hidden gem that movingly taps into the majesty and hardship of Charm City. More broadly, it represents Maryland's resilience and diversity as a national anchor. Melancholy though it may be, Simone's Baltimore bears a complexity well suited to Little America.
and it's hard just to live.
Massachusetts by Arlo Guthrie. Massachusetts. What Woody Guthrie was to Oklahoma, his son Arlo was to pretty much the whole East Coast.
Like a dream in the night, as the snow settles white.
But the New York native fell so deeply in love with Massachusetts that after moving there for school, he aimed to write the definitive tributes.
And there's a house upon a hill that keeps us from the chill.
The orchestral folk ballad Massachusetts describes being enraptured by the seemingly ageless landscapes of the so-called spirit of America. Just 5 years after this gem spoke to her citizens, Massachusetts was designated the official state folk song of its namesake.
You can tell me about the times you spent in the Rockies and on the plains.
This also formalized Arlo Guthrie as an icon of his adopted home. That is, if his passionate ode to the unmistakable aesthetic and character didn't immediately make that official.
That's just not the same. It's Massachusetts.
Dancing in the Streets by Martha and the Vandellas, Michigan. You won't find many Michiganders who disagree with Detroit being their state's cultural epicenter. And you won't find many Detroiters who don't see Dancing in the Street as the quintessential Motown classic. Marvin Gaye originally co-wrote and performed the song with a romantic tone, before Martha Reeves of the Vandellas took over with a lively invitation for everyone to party. The seminal R&B hit has indeed been celebrated and covered the world over. It was also recognized as an uplifting civil rights anthem. But on top of drawing on Motor City's vibrant vibe, Dancing in the Street boasts a folksy and geographically diverse energy that feels wholly Michigan.
Everybody dance in the street now.
Purple Rain by Prince and the Revolution, Minnesota. Pioneering the Minneapolis sound effectively secured Prince as the king of Minnesota music. The soundtrack of the otherwise polarizing film Purple Rain stands out in terms of representing his hometown and its genre-bending vibe. But it's the titular soul rock power ballad that truly captures the majestic scale of a culture in a heartbreaking love story. Never mind the sweeping guitar solo. Clocking in at almost 9 minutes, Purple Rain was an unlikely hit that many consider to be Prince's masterpiece. Minnesota certainly embraced it so firmly as an anthem that it deepened the state's association with the color purple. Still, it's just the most compelling example of what makes Prince their cultural North Star. Crossroad Blues by Robert Johnson, Mississippi. One name stands out for blues enthusiasts as the model of the genre's storytelling and guitar virtuosity.
I went to the crossroads, fell down on my knees.
Robert Johnson would in turn associate that origin myth with Mississippi folklore. Crossroads Blues merely tells the story of a man praying for spiritual and literal guidance at a road intersection.
Stand at the crossroads, I trust the flag of right.
As such places were thought to be mystical, the idea of making a deal with the devil for musical powers is synonymous with both Johnson and blues lore.
This song going down, boy. Don't go catch me young.
The song itself is considered the defining work in Delta blues, rooted in the rich character of Mississippi. All roads lead to the melting pot of Johnson's birthplace, or as they like to call it, the birthplace of America's music.
Now that I'm standing at the crossroad, baby, I believe I'm sinking down.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications. Johnny Be Good by Chuck Berry, Missouri. A surface look at the lyrics would link Johnny Be Good to Louisiana.
Deep down in Louisiana, close to New Orleans, way back up in the woods among the evergreens.
But Chuck Berry's chart-topping, genre-defining classic goes deeper than this stereotypically bluesy setting. It's really based on his own youth as a musical prodigy in St. Louis, where he grew up on Good Avenue. More importantly, the song enriches the blues with an electric jam and R&B.
He used to carry his guitar in a gunny sack, go sit beneath the tree by the railroad track.
This mixture was the foundation for rock and roll, though the ingredients were refined in urban Missouri. Johnny Be Good is thus embraced as the epitome of the innovative cultural cross-section that Berry's home state represents.
Go, go! Go, Johnny, go, go!
The nod to Louisiana just confirms these American classics as a gift to the world, and thanks to NASA's Voyager probes, worlds beyond.
Johnny Be Good.
What are your favorite songs for your favorite American states? Help us build a cross-country road trip playlist right now in the comments.